Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Man, nowhere to run to and nowhere to hide. That's right. It looks like Iraq is rounding up some of those criminals that have been stealing some money. But there's a bigger problem going on with Iraq. Sure, they revalued their currency and increased the exchange rate, but that's a temporary fix. There are some guidelines that the United States put on Iraq, and if they don't follow it, it's going to get worse. Yes, we're going to cover that here in just a moment. Plus, the Republicans are putting the squeeze on Iraq for their relationship with Iran. We're talking about the current government that's in Iraq. I thought al-Sudani was doing a great job. It looks like things are going good, but my concern was he is buddy-buddies with Maliki, and Maliki is a puppet of Iran. And that is starting to come out. So let's go over this. Before we get started, do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link will be down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code PIMPYSILVER. Yes, it has changed. PIMPYSILVER. So if you're watching this video and it's an older video, make sure you check on current videos, because the code is going to be changing from time to time from now on. Also, I can be found on other platforms. Everybody knows I have my own website, Pimpy's News Network. Over here, I post videos that I can't get away with over on YouTube. Also, I have a group on Facebook called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here, we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. Come on over here and join us. It's free to do so. You can also come follow me on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, and Odyssey. The links for all these platforms will be down below in the description. So for whatever reason, if I get removed off of one platform, you could find me on the others. For those of you looking for my address, there it is right here. Feel free to pause the video, write it down, and go ahead and reach out to me. I posted a couple of videos over there on Pimpy's News Network, because there's no way in God's green earth YouTube was going to allow me to post that information at all. There's a video that's pertaining to James O'Keefe getting suspended by Project Veritas. That's unbelievable. And so you got to go look into that, because I get into the details a little bit and also play the couple of videos that they had removed off YouTube. So you couldn't play them on YouTube, because if you do, then you get in trouble, and I don't need that crap. Also, there's another video. I played the beginning testimonies of the hearing today about the weaponization of our government. You've got to hear what the witnesses have to say. Without a doubt, there's some terrible things happening with our intelligence agencies. Hopefully something gets done, but most likely not. That's the thing that happens, is both political parties go through all this hoopla, make a big scene, but nothing ever gets accomplished. Anyways, let's get back to Iraq, shall we? Now you got to like the way this sounds, Blinken. We are working to strengthen Iraq's economy and reintegrate it into the region. Yeah, that all sounds fine and dandy. That's what we want. We know that Iraq is a key part of what's going on over there in the Middle East. We want to make sure that we can continue to control them. And what I mean by control is not literally like control, but at least be influencers over there. So during a joint press conference between the U.S. Secretary of State and his Iraq counterpart in Washington. Of course, as investors in the Iraqi Dinar, you want to hear this kind of news. The more they can strengthen the economy and make it more secure, and the less they rely on oil sales, the better it is for the Iraqi Dinar. It becomes a stronger currency, and you can have a much better exchange rate. So, U.S. Secretary of State said Thursday his country is working to strengthen the Iraq economy and reintegrate it into the region within the framework of the strategic relations between the two countries. This came during a joint press conference between Blinken and his Iraq counterpart, which is just a repeat of what I said earlier. So it goes on to say in here, in early February, the Prime Minister al-Sudani announced that high-level delegations would visit Washington on the 7th of the same month to discuss files, including fluctuations in the price of the dollar against the dinar. Since last November, the U.S. Federal Reserve has imposed stricter controls on international dollar transactions by Iraq commercial banks. And that's because they got busted smuggling money over to Iran as well as a couple other countries. But the money that's being smuggled over to Iran is a lot bigger than what people know. They're not being honest about the amount. Which brings me right back to what I said about al-Sudini. I was pretty impressed by the things he was accomplishing while he was there, but I said only time would tell, because he is buddy-buddy with Maliki, and they are puppets for Iran. So I was more concerned about real corruption happening under this new government than any type of corruption happening under al-Qadimi. And I figured it was just a matter of time before the true colors start to come out, and it looks like it's starting to happen. So it says right here, particular emphasis will be placed on energy and electricity in the Strategic Framework Agreement. Blinken said, adding that Iraq can and must be independent in the field of energy. Yeah, right now they rely too much on Iran, and they're using it as an excuse to work with Iran, and in the meantime smuggling money over to Iran, which is a no-no. That's why the United States is pushing really hard for these new generators by Germany to be installed. Now, in the recent past, people were blowing up those generators, and you can almost guess who it is that's doing that. They don't want the cash cow to stop working for them. Biden had a very good conversation with Iraq Prime Minister a few days ago, stressing a way to strengthen the strategic partnership that unites Iraq and the United States. For his part, the Prime Minister said Iraq will continue to work with Washington on the basis of building the Iraqi economy. And then they thanked one another. So here we go right here. It says challenges facing the CBI reform initiatives to curb dollar smuggling. So it said the lack of supervisory process by the Iraq Central Bank has led to an upsurge in the smuggling of dollars out of Iraq during the past few months. Over the past few months, this has been under this new government's watch. According to the Parliamentary Integrity Committee, on the other hand, experts think that the current CBI initiatives will cut off crimes against national economic security. According to the Prime Minister's advisor, Saleh, for Financial Affairs, the term smuggling refers to the operations. And you know what? If you go through this is pretty much just a repeat of an article we saw the other day. It says a member of the Parliament Integrity Committee stated that the currency auction was served as the platform for money laundering, and currency smuggling is where currency smuggling first started. Yeah, that's actually a repeat as well. Let's get down here. Kashan said in the news that CBI's control over government and private banks was non-existent. They were completely unrestricted due to their lack of supervisory procedures. The interim government wasn't allowed to do anything, and the new government hadn't been formed. The smuggled amounts increased by withdrawing hard currency through Iranian-affiliated agents from secondary outlets and exchange points. The phases of smuggling are not restricted to Iran alone, but there are influential people who have interests in other countries where money laundering operations are carried out through the purchase of real estate and the opening of other businesses. So these new stricter rules and policies have got some of these bank owners a little nervous. Instead of $20 million fine, banking offices, the closing penalty pushes us not to sell the dollars. So if they don't sell the dollars, then that forces people to use the local currency, which is a good thing. But also it might increase the black market for US dollar purchases because people want the US dollars. If that's the case, you can end up with another gap again between the official rate and the market rate being way too big. They probably need to find a way to strengthen the laws against smuggling, make them a lot more harsh so that people are deterred from doing it, but it's most likely not going to do anything. Many banks are witnessing reluctant to sell dollars to citizens after determining the new price by the Central Bank of Iraq and approving it by the Council of Ministers. Owners of some banking offices confirmed on Thursday that the threat of closure and fine prompted us not to sell dollars to citizens' beneficiaries. A banking owner in Baghdad said in the interview with the news, the threat of the central bank to impose financial sanctions and close our offices made us weary of the process of selling the dollar, noting that the central bank asked us to abide by the official pricing by selling it at a rate of 1,320 dinars for every $1 US. He added that the price of the dollar in the parallel market is higher by about 20 enigmas. That doesn't sound right. When I was stationed in Virginia, this term was used for Newports. So that doesn't look right. Anyways, I don't think that's the right word. So some banking offices buy dollars from citizens at a price of 1,310 dinars per dollar. But they refuse to sell except for knowledge and at the price of the parallel market for fear of economic security. He added that we received yesterday, which was Wednesday, the weekly quota of the dollars at the rate of 1,465 against every $1. After we paid the bank its dues a week ago. We will bear to lose it after reducing the price to 1,310 dinars per $1. Well, yeah, if you're dealing with currencies and prior to the increase in the exchange rate, you paid more money to get your currency, and then all of a sudden you find out that they increased the purchasing power, which means you get less dinars for the US dollars. You know, you could be kicking yourself in the butt. If you're a person who's doing some shenanigans with the currency, you know, you're buying US dollars and trading them on the black market for a much higher amount of Iraqi dinars, which is a good little scam that they got going on there. But if all of a sudden the rate changes, then and you purchase a lot of dollars thinking you were going to get X amount of Iraqi dinar, and all of a sudden you can't, that affects the black market, obviously, and people are reluctant to sell those at the moment for less amount of Iraqi dinar. It says right here, the owner of another exchange company confirmed in an interview with the news, economic security is widespread in the region and they follow and deliberately enter our offices and companies, claiming their need to sell or buy dollars to ensure the company's compliance with the instructions of the central bank, noting that the violators will close his office immediately and refer him to court to be fined. He pointed out that economic security also follows up the outlets for the distribution of the salaries that previously bought the dollar and are originally prohibited from buying or selling dollars, stressing that most of these ports and some exchange companies prefer to close his office for fear of sanctions. That or they realize now they're not going to be able to do what they were doing earlier and smuggling money. It is noteworthy that the central bank allocated on Wednesday a hotline to receive citizens' complaints and inquiries related to the purchase of foreign currency dollars. So they want their citizens to snitch on these people. Integrity, the former Trade Bank of Iraq's director, was arrested over there in UAE. So the Integrity Commission announced the arrest of former Director General of the Trade Bank in Iraq on the background of her conviction in a number of cases of administrative and financial corruption, coinciding with the visit of the Prime Minister to UAE. Said the Recovery Department and the authority indicated that it has already organized recovery files against a convicted fugitive who was arrested in UAE, indicated that 17 recovery files were sent to the Presidency of the Public Prosecutions for the purpose of sending them to the UAE in order to hand over the criminal. The department added that the conviction caused damage to the public money during her tenure as director of the trade bank, amounting to, now this is interesting, it said, amounting to $1,116,024,788 US dollars and 90,786,020 billion Iraqi dinars. That is a lot of money. So this person stole both US dollars and dinars? Wow. Noting that these amounts were determined in the criminal decisions issued by the competent courts against the fugitive convicted. So it's this kind of nonsense. Iranian people are pushing Iraq to have the court issue an arrest warrant against Trump. That's not Iraq, that's Iran doing that. And so the Republicans are tired of playing these games. Why the hell do we want to send our taxpayer dollars over there to help Iraq when Iraq is not truly independent? They are relying on decisions to be made for them by Iran, apparently. Anyways, that's it for now. You guys let me know what you think down below. I look forward to your comments, and I will get back at you later. I'm out.